Have you ever had the feeling that you're being watched in your own house? It was a typical Friday night, and I found myself home alone, craving a midnight snack. With no one around to judge my questionable culinary choices, I decided to whip up some instant ramen. As the water boiled, I absent-mindedly scrolled through my phone, idly tapping away at social media apps. Amidst the sea of mundane updates, a notification caught my eye. A friend request on Snapchat from someone I didn't recognize. Curiosity piqued, I accepted the request without much thought. A message popped up almost instantly. "Hi there," it read, accompanied by a waving emoji. I shrugged and typed out a quick reply. "Hey, do I know you?" The conversation flowed smoothly for a while, with harmless small talk exchanged back and forth. But as I descended the stairs to check on my ramen, I felt a strange unease settle in the pit of my stomach. Ignoring the feeling, I focused on the task at hand, only to be interrupted by my buzzing phone. Returning to my phone, I noticed a barrage of messages flooding in from the mysterious Snapchat account. Confused, I opened the app to find a series of increasingly frantic texts. "Why aren't you answering me? I know you're there. Why won't you talk to me?" Frowning, I tried to dismiss the messages and focus on my food, but the buzzing persisted. With a sigh, I glanced at my phone again, only to freeze in horror at the latest message. It was a photo of me standing in the kitchen, stirring my ramen. The caption sent chills down my spine. "Why are you ignoring me? I can see you." Heart pounding, I whipped around, half expecting to find someone lurking in the shadows. But the kitchen remained empty, bathed in the soft glow of the overhead light. Shaken, I made a hasty retreat to my room, locking the door behind me. As I tried to calm my racing thoughts, strange noises echoed through the house. Faint knocks at the windows, the creak of the floorboards, the slam of a door somewhere downstairs. Each sound sent a fresh wave of terror coursing through my veins. Determined to regain control of the situation, I forced myself to take deep breaths. Maybe it was just my imagination running wild. Maybe there was a rational explanation for everything. With shaky hands, I reached for my PlayStation controller, hoping to distract myself with a game. But as I settled onto the bed, my phone buzzed once again, signaling another message on Snapchat. I hesitated, fear knotting in my stomach, before reluctantly opening the app. The blue drained from my face as I stared at the screen. It was another photo. This time, it was me, sitting on my bed, clutching the PlayStation controller in my hands. But the chilling detail was the angle of the photo. It was taken from inside the room. Panic surged through me like a tidal wave. Without a second thought, I bolted from the room, racing down the stairs and out the front door. Frantically, I dialed the police, my hands trembling as I recounted the terrifying ordeal. When the authorities arrived, they searched the house from top to bottom but found no sign of an intruder. However, their investigation uncovered something far more sinister hidden away in my wardrobe: rope and a knife. As the reality of the situation sank in, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of being hunted by someone lurking in the shadows of my own home. And though the police assured me that I was safe for now, I knew deep down that the nightmare was far from over. As I stumbled out of the bar, the chill of the night air hit me hard. Closing time, 3 a.m. The street was deserted except for a figure lurking in the shadows. My tired eyes squinted, trying to make out the person's features. He looked off. Something about him made my skin crawl. "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to Maple Street?" His voice was like gravel grinding against concrete. I hesitated, my instincts screaming at me to run. But I managed to mumble out directions, keeping my distance. The man nodded, his eyes never leaving mine, and I hurried away, heart pounding. But I couldn't shake off the feeling of dread as I walked. Glancing over my shoulder, I saw him. The creepy guy. He stood there, illuminated by the dim glow of the street lamp, his features twisted in a grotesque grin. His long, greasy hair hung in clumps around his face, and his eyes gleamed with a disturbing intensity. I quickened my pace, my heart hammering in my chest. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat as I hurried home. I could feel his presence like a dark cloud looming over me, suffocating me with fear. The streets were eerily silent, amplifying the sound of my own footsteps echoing in the night. Then suddenly, he broke into a sprint, crossing the road towards me. Panic surged through me, propelling me forward in a desperate race against the stranger's pursuit. Adrenaline coursed through my veins, urging me to run faster, to escape the nightmare that pursued me relentlessly. I reached my apartment building, fumbling for my keys, praying for safety behind the locked door. With trembling hands, I finally got inside, slamming it shut behind me. I leaned against it, trying to catch my breath, trying to convince myself it was over. But as I climbed into bed, exhaustion dragging me into its embrace, a lingering unease remained. I tried to push the encounter from my mind, pulling the covers tight around me. Then, a sound, a soft scrape against the floor. My heart lurched into my throat as I peered into the darkness. There, under the bed, were two glinting eyes illuminated by the faint moonlight seeping through the curtains. I froze, terror rooting me to the spot. And then, in the dim light, I saw it. The twisted grin stretching impossibly wide across the face of the man I thought I had escaped. He was there, laying under the bed, clutching the gleaming blade of a kitchen knife. In that moment, the true horror of the night enveloped me. I was not safe, not even in my own home. And as the man's manic laughter filled the room, I knew that the nightmare was far from over, and then darkness swallowed me whole. The next thing I remember was waking up, disoriented and shaken. Had it all been a terrible dream? I dared to hope, until I noticed the scratch marks on the floor, the faint smell of sweat and fear lingering in the air. But the most chilling realization came when I looked under the bed once more, expecting to find nothing but empty space. Instead, I saw a note, written in a shaky hand. "I'll always find you."
A little backstory. I'm a 20-year-old, short petite female working at Subway, and I can't help but be nice to anyone even if they creep me out. I feel bad, usually. About a year ago, we had this guy, 35 to 40 years old, who would come in every day for lunch. He was fascinated by my stretched ears and few piercings I had on my face and always asked questions. He would sit down after I rang him out and watch me from his table for 2 hours, non-stop just staring at me while I helped other customers. This goes on for about 2 weeks. Every day he would ask for my number, saying he has plugs and tunnels he wants to give me and see me wearing them in my ears. And I always politely declined. One day, I'm alone in the store because my manager had to run to the bank. We were really slow that day, so I was just in the back room messing around on my phone. I heard the door chime, looked up, and yet no one was there. Then I saw the man walk past the front of the store really quickly, like he was in a hurry. The store phone rings. Me. "Thanks for calling Subway. How can I help you?" Him. "This is the girl with the nice ears, right?" Me. Yes. "Who is this?" Him. "Are you alone in the back room right now? Are you working by yourself?" At this point, I really got creeped out and knew it was him. I hung up and texted my manager the situation so she would hurry back. He called again, this time asking me very weird questions like what I would do with him in a room with the door locked, if I had a boyfriend, why I was playing hard to get, etc. My manager gets back and I tell her everything. In the middle of the lunch rush, he calls again. This time my manager answers, and to this day she never told me what he said, but the look on her face made my spine shiver. She told him if he called again or showed up here, she would call the police. I thought that was the end of it, but alas, I was wrong. 1 week later, I'm clocking out and getting ready to walk to my car parked in the front, and when I look outside, I see him standing by my car and looking inside of it. I was an idiot and left a back door unlocked. I watched him crawl inside and shut the door. The creep was trying to hide in my back seat and do God knows what to me when I got in. My manager locked the front door of our store and called the police. When they arrived, they had to pretty much drag him out of my car and he was arrested. On him was a butcher knife, rope, and a rag with chloroform on it. If I hadn't looked up when I did, I would probably be dead right now.